All right, folks, today we are diving into one of the most heated debates in the world of gaming. That's right, it's console versus PC.
Why did you have to choose that particular popping sound effect for the captions? Like, you just sent me on a 10-second search for who was spamming my notifications, and I'm never getting that time back.
Now, I have been a console gamer for the majority of my life, bouncing between the latest Xbox and PlayStation consoles, and then in 2019, I made the switch to PC gaming, and I have absolutely loved it.
My experience is pretty similar. Started out as a PC gamer in the young years of Joe, because my family was one of those with parents where they were like, oh, game consoles, that'll be too much of a distraction, but computer games, those are totally fine. So like I didn't ask questions because I was just too busy playing Zoo Tycoon and Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4 and Lego Star Wars, because I was a very, very well-rounded young man, I like to think. But during the 7th console generation, we got a Wii and a 360, and I dove in on the fantastic first era of HD games, but then I'd switched to PC during the next console generation, partially for better game performance, but also mainly because the 8th console generation was a big pile of poo on a plate. And since then, I've never looked back. I just don't see a single thing that could pull me away from PC gaming and back to the console now that I've experienced both, and I think the majority of people who make the switch like I did would agree that we made the right call. But, you know, let's hear what you have to say. What do you think is better, console or PC? I'm sure you'll have some great points to make given your experience and status as a 100k subtech channel, a 100k subtech channel that struggles to hit 10k views on a video, but a tech channel nonetheless.
However, that isn't to say that there aren't things I love about console gaming. So today we are going to be comparing the pros and cons of both platforms to help you decide whether you should buy that new PlayStation or Xbox, or if you're just better off investing in a PC setup.
And hopefully my video here will help you not be persuaded by incorrect talking points and making the buying decision that's actually better for you once you have all the information.
And by the way, all of the products that I mentioned in today's video will be linked in both the video as well as the description down below.
Link to his videos in the description down below, I guess. I don't know, I didn't really have anything to contribute there.
All right, with that out of the way, let's kick things off with some of the big pros of console gaming. First is affordability. Arguably the most obvious advantage of console gaming is that it's just affordable.
Generally speaking, a console is going to cost you less than a gaming PC, but that's not the only thing that goes into cost. The PC has cheaper games, cheaper peripherals, no mandatory subscriptions for online play. Like basically everything other than the initial purchase of the machine is cheaper on the PC side, to the point that you're saving money in the long run. And with how massive some of these cost disparities can be between the console and PC, you could very easily be saving money on the PC in the short run as well. But it could also be said that you're getting what you pay for, and paying extra upfront for a gaming PC instead of a console is going to give you an immediately better experience in just about every game.
Especially when you start out from scratch. For no more than 500 bucks, I can have the latest Xbox or the latest PlayStation along with everything I need to just start playing.
Okay, first of all, you say it's cheaper, especially when you start from scratch, but that's really the only time it's cheaper, you know? But also, what is this about buying a console and having everything you need to start playing? Like, do consoles come with games? Oh no, I meant the free-to-play games. Okay, well, those are on PC as well? Question mark? Like, either way, too, how is this even a roadblock compared to the PC? Like, the console comes with the game that you have to install, but oh, PC, good golly gosh, you might have to buy a game first, and then what are you gonna do, huh? You're just gonna fucking shit your pants and cry? Probably.
PC gaming can get expensive very quickly. Even if you have a $500 gaming build, you still need other parts to actually use the thing.
If you have a working PC, you don't have to buy more parts. What the fuck are you talking about?
You've got to have a monitor to plug in. You got to have a decent keyboard and a mouse pad. And
you realize a console doesn't come with a monitor or TV, right? Like, mouse and keyboard I'll give you, but you can get a cheap MKB set for like 20 bucks if you really want. Meanwhile, have fun paying, what, $70 for each controller on the console? Yeah, you're fucking lucky the console comes with one of those. Good lord.
Some speakers or a headset if you want sound.
By this logic, I have to start including the cost of speakers and shit to the console as well. Like, you can't act like the console is a one-time purchase that's so much less than the PC, but then start lumping universally necessary purchases in with the PC and not the console. That's like looking at two cars that cost the same and being like, nah bro, you should go with that one, because in the other one, you might have to fill your gas tank.
Your $500 budget gaming PC suddenly turns into like a $900 to $1,000 gaming PC.
I mean, by the time you've bought a TV, second controller, some speakers, your $500 consoles turn into a $1,000 gaming console. And mighty ironic that here in this section about cost, you still haven't mentioned the price of games or subscription services, or basically anything that would actually matter in this comparison.
Another advantage of console gaming is just how consistent and simple it is.
Oh, yep, you're just moving right along from price without mentioning those things. Wow. Great video.
Because the hardware is the same across every console.
The lack of options is not a good thing.
When I buy a game, I don't have to worry about whether or not my hardware is compatible. Basically, everybody's on a nice, even playing field.
An even playing field of outdated hardware that will lock you at outdated performance metrics while charging you out the ass for all of it in the name of convenience and simplicity. Yeah, I'll take the occasional buggy release on PC as the trade-off for not having to deal with that.
Whereas with PC gaming, especially with some of these more graphically intense games, you generally want to pay attention to the system requirements before you buy it, just to make sure that your PC can even run the game, especially if you are playing on a more budget-friendly build.
I mean, yeah, fair enough, a budget build might not run the most modern AAA games at amazing metrics, but that's what graphical settings are for. You don't have to use the highest settings all the time. In fact, most PC gamers probably aren't. That's one of the best things about this platform, you know? On the console, the game is going to run how it wants to run, give or take the 2 or 3 options you might have with certain games in like performance mode or quality mode or whatever. But on the PC, you have access to actual graphical settings that allow you to fine-tune your game to your build to best match everything and get the best performance that you can. Finding that happy middle ground of your preference between good graphics and good frame rate. And depending on the game and your hardware, you might not even have to make that compromise. You can just shoot up to your standards for both. But even if you're running a budget build, you can experience modern games with just a few performance caps in the areas of your choosing instead of dealing with the performance metrics that the Xbox or PlayStation preemptively decided for you.
And that is where ease of use comes in. Consoles are just a breeze to use. You hook it up to your TV, you open the game, you're good to go.
You hook up your PC to your monitor or TV, you open a game, you're good to go. Stop acting like PC gaming is this complicated monolith that you have to like go to law school to figure out. It's super unhelpful. Everyone today knows how to work a computer, and if you can work a computer, you can play PC games. Fuck, if you can work a console, you can work a computer. And then go back to what I said about how if you can work a computer, you can play PC games. The graphical settings are extremely self-explanatory, and most games will have little descriptors for most of the settings if you don't know what they mean, and if that's all just too complicated, or if you just find that overwhelming, no big deal, just use the presets. PC gaming has more stuff going on than the console does, and I guess that technically is less simple, but that doesn't mean it's difficult to understand, nor does it mean that there's a crazy learning curve that should push you away from the platform if you want to be there. This is one of the biggest misconceptions about PC gaming.
And that's like starting out with the console. Sure, you have the occasional system updates that get pushed out, but there isn't really any thinking involved. Whereas with PC gaming, especially if this is like a custom build PC, you have all these different parts from different manufacturers trying to work together, which means there's not just going to be the game updates that we all deal with, but then you've got driver updates from the various parts and ensuring that everything is compatible and working smoothly. For many, that extra maintenance is kind of part of the fun with PCs. It's like keeping up on an old classic car that you restored or built. But for many who just want to sit down and have a consistently good, easy gaming experience without having to think, consoles are a very attractive path.
I'm honestly going to give you that because, like, yeah, fair enough. That kind of uber simplicity is something you just aren't going to have on the PC, but is that really a good thing? Is that kind of uber simplicity and streamlining really a positive for the buyer, or is it more so a restriction in disguise when you get down to it?
Exclusive titles are also another perk of console gaming.
Because only consoles have worthwhile exclusives, didn't you know? The mere concept of exclusive games are inherently an advantage of console gaming over PC gaming, weren't you aware of that?
While most games on Xbox or PS5 tend to be available on PC, there are certain titles that simply will not release on PC. For example, the other day, I wanted to buy NHL 23. And I was very sad to learn that EA does not make it available on PC, nor do they have plans to.
You know what? I've never heard someone make the console exclusive argument with NHL before. That's genuinely a new one. I'll allow it.
Some titles will start as a console exclusive, like Spider-Man, and then it'll eventually be released on PC. but there's no guarantee on those, and there's a long wait period.
This is really the only good argument in the console's favor nowadays, and that kind of makes it even stupider. Like, the only real advantage of the console over the PC at this point is the handful of games that you might care about, and the fact that that is the main reason people are being coaxed onto the consoles instead of the PCs nowadays. It really just highlights how anti-consumer console exclusives are as a concept, Like, all they have to offer is the handful of games that they're holding hostage. That's it? That's all they're worth to you? When instead of working on exclusive deals and keeping games off of other platforms, they could be putting those resources into just making their platform more desirable for all the games.
It's just not ideal. So if you have certain titles that you want to play, definitely look that up ahead of time to see where you can play those, because that could be a major factor in not only deciding between console and PC, but between Xbox and PlayStation, as they often have their own exclusive titles.
The absolute most obnoxious thing about this entire industry, that's it. There it is. Although I do want to point out that the PC has a ton of extremely high quality exclusive games and an entire indie and AA scene that barely exists on the consoles by comparison. Just like the suggestion that the mere concept of exclusives is inherently a benefit of the consoles, like, you're gonna have to do a better job explaining why.
The other big perk of these new consoles is that they are...
Oh, cool. You're not explaining why.
Also built-in entertainment systems. They're streaming devices. There's no reason to go out and buy a streaming device like a Roku for your TV if you've already got the console hooked up to it.
I mean, yeah, fair enough, I guess, but most people who buy a PC aren't planning on using it as a home entertainment system, so the comparison doesn't really make much sense when you think about it. If you're just buying a gaming machine and have no intention of using it as like a home media device beyond, just like watching things at your desk, you probably don't care that much that the console has that ability, Especially since if you're one of the people I just described, you probably already have some kind of streaming capabilities in your preferred place of watching such things, Like, it's 2023.
Both consoles have more traditional remotes that you can buy if you don't like using the controller that it comes with for things like Netflix or watching YouTube.
The irony of you bringing up the various remotes you can buy for the consoles after you talked about the difference in price. Console controllers are hilariously overpriced, and you have nowhere near the amount of options for peripherals as you do on the PC.
And while a PC can technically do all this, it's typically not hooked up to your main TV where you like to sit and watch movies, nor is it as intuitive for people who, again, just want to sit down on the couch and relax.
And like, yeah, sure, I'll give you that. It's just kind of weird that you focused more on this than you did some of the much more important factors in this debate.
So now let's talk about PCs. As a current PC gamer myself, I can tell you that there are some pretty solid reasons you might want to choose a gaming PC over a console.
Basically, all the reasons that you mentioned were console advantages, but just take the word console and switch it to PC, and then you can add all the things that he's about to say.
One of the biggest things for me is that you can really make your PC your own. You can either do what I did and just jump all in and learn how to build a PC, and that's a whole fun adventure in of itself.
Wait, but wasn't that a negative earlier in the video?
Or if you're not quite ready for that, you can go and buy a pre-built PC, and it's like bowling balls. They all look different. They have their own style, only it's on steroids.
No, okay. Gaming PCs are like bowling balls. Fucking, what analogy would you have gone with? Huh? Fucking loser. You would have gone with a car? Television? No, fucking gaming PCs are bowling balls. Shut up. That's the new analogy.
It's because you've got RGB lighting, and just the way you design it can be very custom to your personality.
Just like bowling balls.
And even then, you're free to build and upgrade it to fit your specific gaming needs.
Just like bowling balls.
If you need better graphics, swap out the GPU. If you're running out of space, add more storage.
Just like bowling.
Do you know that you're going to be playing a lot of racing sim games? Invest in an ultra-wide monitor for that more immersive gameplay.
Or just do that for anything that supports it, because ultra-wide is sick. Yeah, from this point on in the video, he's basically unoffensive, so I'll leave the original link in the description if you want to go watch it. Just, it really burns my chicken when people with big channels and big reaches online just go out and just completely misrepresent the corner of gaming that I reside in. Like, and I know that's why a lot of other PC gamers have a little get a little kick out of dunking on videos like this. Like, I just don't get why people keep entering this discussion as a self-perceived authority figure when it's very obvious you don't know very much about what you're talking about. And there's nothing wrong with not having the knowledge that you want to have, but that should be an indication to go learn instead of make a video for your 100+ sub channel and possibly dissuade someone from getting the product that they would have actually wanted had they had all the information. Thank you. Toodles.